right. Well, we're back at it again for another conversation. Thinking Out Loud, coming to you from the Thinker Networks, Thinker Studios. Today, this is going to be kind of an interesting one. Today, we're going to talk about vision and dreams, right? And this is interesting to me because I want to know what you guys mean by that, and specifically Tame, because this is kind of your topic, your area, right? So I want to kind of unpack this with you. When we're talking about visions and dreams, where do we start? What are you getting at? And then maybe we'll leave with some next steps or some things that people can do. But I'm just kind of curious, when you talk about visions and dreams, what does that mean to you?
Really, what do you want for your life? I mean, I'm a huge component of being the author of your life. You can decide what it is that you desire. Most people, again, see stuff on the movie screen and they simply leave their dreams out in the clouds, but have no real practical way of getting it, and therefore they just simply leave it for that time period when they sleep, and it's for other people.
Yeah.
It's your life. This is the one life you get. Mm-hmm. What is that vision for you? And specifically, again, for yourself, not somebody else's, but what is that dream that you have for yourself?
So in your mind, is there a difference between a vision and a dream? Is there a difference between the two? Because we talk about people have dreams. Like you can. I've got a dream to do this one day, right? Or like, oh, this seems like that would be a dream. That would be a dream life. We talk about like the definition of a dream, right? Oftentimes it's not real, right? It's an ethereal thing that is not achievable yet. It can come, but then when we come to having a vision or having vision, what's the difference?
To me, it's the next step, right? Dreams, you can't. It's in your head, but vision starts to get into what you see, that path forward. Our brain is pulling in billions of pieces of data at any given second, right? But vision gives us focus. It allows us to take all these different things. If your brain wasn't focused on driving or focused on talking, all these components would overload your brain, but vision allows you to get focused. And so when you talk about the dreams, again, dream as big as you want to, dream whatever you want in your life, but then vision starts to bring that into focus.
Okay.
So for me, there's two things that differentiate a dream from a vision. One is intention, the other one is work, right? And that's what makes one more real than the other. When you talk about a dream, how many people dream on purpose? They don't. Their subconscious drives their dreams. They go to sleep and then it happens and they wake up and hopefully they like it, right? The other piece of it is people don't dream about work. They dream about the thing. They don't dream about the work required for the thing. When you are in a vision, you can vision intentionally. You can intentionally try to see those things and be thoughtful about what you want in there, where, how you're moving it around. And then you also get an opportunity to see the pathway there. You get to see what it is that you have to do in order to acquire that vision. Obviously the greatest example in the history of the world, when we think about a dream, is Dr. King's dream, right?
Yeah.
And when people are dreaming about justice, and they're dreaming about equity, and they're dreaming about economic parity, and all these other type of things, world peace, whatever it is, like that was a dream for him because it was so unrealistic.
Yeah.
And which is the saddest part about that whole concept. But that's not a reality that we can accept. That's not I'm gonna dream about. That's something that we'll work towards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't dream about that type of stuff that should be there. That's something that you have to put into practice, that you have to do the work. And so you can vision your way there. And so for me, I'm a person where I'm not much of a dreamer, partly because I didn't sleep well for like a decade. But the other piece of it is I'm a vision person. I want to see what it is that's there for me. The other thing about visioning is I get to input who I want in that vision. And a lot of times people can't buy into your dream because it is so singular.
Yeah.
It is so specific. It is so for you, right? You don't have to think about how everybody else fits into that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people you love aren't even in your dream. But your vision, my vision for Think 3D isn't just me. My vision for Think 3D includes you, includes Tommy, includes the whole squad. It includes the city. It includes our nonprofits that we work with, our clients that we work with. So when you have a vision that includes people, they can plug into it because they can see themselves in it versus a dream where it's your thing. And people have their own dreams, and so they're less likely to buy into or feed into your thing.
So why are they important?
Well, momentum. I mean, to use Dr. King as an example, back to his dream that we heard of from his "I Have a Dream" speech. He didn't have that in the beginning. He was a preacher. The moment came, and they knew it was time to do something.
Yeah.
They had a vision. What if we boycotted the bus system? So they organized, and they had a vision very clearly. Here's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna need your pickup truck. We're gonna need your help. They had a very clear, tangible. They didn't know there was no timeline to it, but they got momentum.
Yeah.
And that's what kills most dreams is people don't start. You talk about it all the time. Take that step.
Yeah.
What's that one thing? They got momentum. The whole movement
Yeah.
at that moment in time started with, it wasn't a dream initially. They all dreamed in general of a better life, equality, equity, all those different things. But in that moment, when it presented itself, there was a vision. Okay, here's how we're going to cause some change. They didn't know it was going to be a ripple effect across the whole nation. They just said, "This is what we can do tangibly right now." We got a couple hundred trucks. We're going to need to lock in, and it was starting. And so that is the key distinction in that is you have to get momentum, because that's the hardest part to all of these things, right? You don't get to the moon. That gravitational pull, trying to leave the atmosphere of what you know, that pull down is a big, big, big deal.
Yeah, that vision has an opportunity to flow into a plan.
Yeah.
That's how you communicate the plan, right? You get people to buy into the vision. If you do this, this is what's going to happen as we see it. If we do this, this is what will happen as we see it. And so it's keeping people in that space where they're moving forward and they're intentional about developing their, not just the vision, but their ability to vision.
Yeah.
And that comes from having faith in yourself, trust in yourself and the people around you, being able to believe in a plan or strategy and knowing that that thing that we see, we can get to that thing. And the idea that is based off of the commitment, right? The commitment to it is what is going to get us there, whether it's the way we saw it going into the idea of visioning inversions, whereas the circumstances of the world change, my vision changes to some degree. It adjusts to what the world is, but the goal remains the same. Whereas with a dream remains static. It means that no matter what's happening in the world, you still get to dream about whatever. But for me, if the stock market changes, if there's a pandemic, if something else changes, guess what? Our vision has adjusted because it's based in reality versus.
So thinking of dreams are something that more of a dreams are the thing that can be somewhat more of a monolith, right? Like something that's like just a static thing.
Yeah.
And a vision is something that's more active or evolving, right? The pursuit of something versus something you're just sitting, thinking about, right? I think that's a kind of an easier way for people to digest it.
Yeah.
Because it's a very heady topic.
Yeah.
We sit here in our studio and talk about vision and dreams and intention, and like we have this bubble of contextual understanding for those things. But I think putting it out there, letting people digest it, I think that's a really good way. It's like having a vision is an active thing.
It's a skill
You have
set.
to have a vision. It is a skill set. And we'll break that down. I think that would be something to break down in just a second. But then having a dream, anybody has the ability to dream, and everybody has the ability to see things, right? Envision things, but doing it, pursuing it, right? Stepping those action steps up is what makes the difference on whether people achieve it or not.
I think about it, I said it many times, one of my favorite quotes from Les Brown: want shows up in conversation, expectation shows up in behavior. Show me your behaviors, I'll show if you really expect to be successful. And most people don't. They know they don't have the skill set, the behaviors. I'm intimate with that, and why I'm partially so passionate, because I know intimately what it's like being on the side of just wishing and hoping for it to happen. I grew up, my father was a dreamer. I heard him, if you get straight A's or get A's and B's, I'll buy you a Porsche. He never had the means to do those things, right? So that it's fun to dream, it's fun to wish for those things, but then most people stop because it'll never become a reality.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, again, my dreams were left in the clouds. And why the silver bullet or get rich quick schemes work, because people are looking for that magic bean, Jack and the Beanstalk, that they can just throw it in the ground and then whoop, there it is. Meanwhile, your Gary V's of the world are busy building a ladder to get up there. Step one, he made hundreds of crappy videos before anyone ever knew those things, right? And so the people that you admire, the research is there. Just study their life.
Well, that's good news, because I've made a lot of crappy videos.
Yeah.
You have
But
to
you
see
were
that
learning.
map.
You were developing. One of the other things about it that we don't appreciate all the time is the permission component of it. I tell this story sometimes about my uncle, who is my youngest uncle, and he is an entrepreneurial person. My father wasn't in my life, so my uncles were the male figures for me. And he was always he just never wanted to work for anybody. And I always appreciated that value in him. You know what I mean? Like he had a cable company, he had restaurants, he had, whatever. He was working the thing all the time. And I remember we were at my birthday, we were at a place called Putt Putt. And it was like a Chuck E. Cheese or Major Magic, whatever is around your area. And I said, yo, we need one of these, Uncle. We should get one of these. We could call it Uncle D's. And I was just, riffing like a little kid. I was like 10 or something like that. And I saw his brain start to turn. And he started to be like, okay, I've seen 20 people go up, get a slice of pizza. You can do that for $2.50. He was like doing the math. And he's like, okay, $5 worth of coins. He did this whole thing. And then like a couple weeks later, he picked up me and my siblings, or me and my sister, I believe it was, and we went to this like old convenience store that still has shelves in it. It looked like a convenience store, it was still, wrecked out. And we were like, what are we doing? He's like, I think this might be the spot for it, for Uncle D's. And already I'm tripped out because, it's like, I'm a kid. I'm not thinking he's taking me serious. I'm not thinking he's actually listening to anything that I'm saying. And he was, and we looked around. And then I remember when he said it to me, we were just kind of standing there looking in the middle of it, and he was like, "What do you see?" Mm-hmm. And when he said those words, like my brain just went, phew, and I could see everything. I could see the ball pit, I could see the pizza place, I could see where you got your coins, I could see the arcade, I could just see it all in that space. And from that moment on, vision has been one of the things that I do best. Mm-hmm. I can see it in detail. All of it, what would have to happen, all those type of things. And that had to be gifted to me. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had to take my ability to see it seriously. Somebody had to let me know that they cared about how I saw it. And then somebody had to invite me to see it. Yeah. And that activated that part of my brain, which is one of the things that I have that allows me to be successful. And so sometimes we take for granted that people need to have that part of their brain activated. They have to be inspired and challenged and invited to vision to be able to see things because somebody actually cares about how they see things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we stifle that in the workplace and we stifle that in school because what we need you to do right now is be still and just do what I'm telling you to do because that feeds into someone else's vision of what is supposed to be happening. Right? And that is the awkward rub that happens when people have to develop their vision. A lot of times they don't have the space to because they're servicing someone else's vision. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so it's about being able to break free of that and being able to understand how you see yourself. And that's why it's a skill. Because anything you could do well. Anything you could do well is a skill, right? And so you can vision better, you can vision well, and it's a skill, something you can develop.
Well, I think about the statistic. The average millionaire entrepreneur went bankrupt at least 3 times on average, right? They stayed active. Most people's dreams cease when they become inactive. Mm-hmm. They just conform to life. That's too painful. That's thing. What that says, obviously they're averages, but that says, okay, this one failed, but there's still a dream. What's the next thing? They stayed active, building a skill set. The one thing we know, there's a limit to how much skill you can build before the thing cracks open, before you actually hit that thing of success. It's not a secret. Right. Build the skill set.
Right.
Yeah.
Build the muscle.
What is the skill set?
Well, when you talk about vision, the skill set number 1 is confidence. That's part of the skill. It's truly believing in your ability to see these things. It is the ability to be observant. Vision is based out of the ability to observe. Yeah. Right? So when you see the work that people do, we always say in our trainings, you need to see people. A lot of times people don't see people. And humans are just there like things are there. That person who just sticks their hand out of the drive-thru and drops in your food is just a hand that came out of the drive-thru and dropped in your food. Or the person who brings down your plate just drops your plate. Or when you walk into your office and the lights come on and the room is clean, It's just clean. That's how it's supposed to be. The lights are just supposed to go on. You don't think about who paid that bill. You don't think about who emptied that trash. And part of being able to vision is being observant, is being able to see people and see things and how people contribute. And so when you are able to see those type of things, then when you go to do a business, you know that this business is going to require 10 people because you know that somebody's got to do that, somebody's got to do that, somebody's got to do that. But if you live in a world where things that have always been done for you just get done, it's going to be difficult for you to envision a scenario where those people are playing their parts. Those type of things. So being observant is super important to that. The other piece of it is being able to cast out into the future and connect to it. People go thought, destination versus the path to the destination. And being able to think, in many cases, strategically and to some degree, sequentially, right? This comes before that, that becomes before that. So your ability to be able to stack those actions, your ability to be able to observe and be able to entertain all of those different pieces that go into it, and then your ability to have the confidence to be able to design it.
Yeah.
All of those things are skills that are required to be able to vision effectively.
I think to build the base of that, the skill set of self-improvement. You have to have a level of self-awareness, what you need to work on.
Yeah.
I believe that the secret of success is self-discovery. And in that, for most people, what's your why? Getting intimate with your why, because that's the fuel in the tank, right? You can build the car, you can have the roadmap, but you got to have fuel in the tank. This ain't then they say this entrepreneurial life and these various things, it's not an easy road. It's not. But you have to have a greater why than yourself and the things that you're tapped into. And most people's why is surface level BS. Like I do it for my kids and my wife and those different things. All true, but when we live in a world where your brain doesn't care about success, it wants comfort. So that's why we see rampant complacency. It's it'd be nice to have a bigger house or take more vacations, but that's going to require the work. It's going to require those things. And so if the fuel that you believe it is because you try, and that's why most people fail when they try to look at the social media folks, I want what they have, and they realize that's not really a thing.
I think it's so interesting, and this is a rabbit hole we'll dive into. This is interesting because confidence leads me to talk about, because a lot of people don't have necessarily the true confidence. You can have the confidence. You can have what I call the Instagram bio confidence.
Yeah.
Where your Instagram bio says global entrepreneur,
Right.
Hustle Inc., right?
Right.
Dollar sign,
On my
dollar
grind.
sign, jet.
Yeah.
11X.
Money back.
You know what I mean? Like it's good to have that confidence, right? But behind that, there's a set of limiting beliefs that when you truly get into the work, it's that like, you can't do this. You can't figure that out. That's too hard. You know what I mean? That's the skill. The confidence isn't bravado. The confidence isn't your machismo. Your confidence isn't your ability to like make it look like you're doing the thing. And we say this a lot, but we talk about it's not fake it till you make it, it's do it until you do it well. Get the reps in. Don't be afraid to do those things, because a lot of people are looking at that. Their why is one thing, right? Like we get it. We all read Simon Sinek's book. Like that was great video, great interview, right? But like it was surface level.
Right.
Like you have to have a why, but everyone's why. Like I want to help people. I want to be successful. I want freedom. Cool. Why that?
Right.
That's
behind that.
That's the thing. Like why is important, but why this? Well, I want to work really hard because I got a lake house I need to pay for. I got my kids I need to pay for. Well, why do you do that selling insurance?
Right.
What about selling insurance, or sell mattresses, or sell whatever, or make whatever? What about that fuels you to get up and go to work every day? Because I guarantee you could be sitting there with the vacations, you could be sitting there with the super cool black Amex from the corporate card, you could be doing all those things, and you will hate your life.
For sure.
You will hate yourself and be miserable. And you see all those things, you see that outward Instagram influencer, like this is what success looks like.
Yep.
And then you have the people making the videos in, like you can see the chain if you go through and follow this. Oh, I've seen this person make this kind of video talking about success. I'm gonna make this kind of video that looks like that, sounds like that, feels like that. But on the back end, they don't realize there's
substance there.
a machine there. That's
Yeah.
just one dimension, one output of what it looks like. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's like having to go, the difference between wanting to look like you're doing the thing and doing the thing.
Right.
I think that's like when we talk about the confidence of that, like it's not just confidence in yourself, but it's confidence in that vision, that why of like,
That thing.
this is the thing that I want. Like for us, we have a belief in a mission greater than
Yeah.
just a business.
Like I know I have to work. I believe in work because work works. But I want to do this work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like this is the work that I want to do. And I don't think a lot of people challenge themselves in that way. And what we're going to find is that I think what the greatest commodity is going to be in the near future, particularly in a world where, you know, single skill jobs, anything you could do predictably, repetitively, consistently, anything like that, computer is going to be doing that. Bottom line, anything that doesn't involve the dynamic thought,
Yeah.
creativity, connecting dots, visioning, anything that doesn't require those things is going to be difficult. And in the future, your ability to be able to see where you fit into the world and where you can create a reality
Yeah.
that makes sense for you, you're going to have to determine that. The whole idea where, you know, you go online, you look at a job, you click on the job, you get the job, whatever, that's just going to be a different thing. As we talk about the gig economy, as we talk about automation and AI, as we talk about all these other things, your ability to be able to say, this is who I am and this is what I offer. And this is what I'm able to get, and this is unique
Yeah.
because no one else can do this.
Yeah.
That is what's going to be your ability to be able to elevate. That's going to be connected to your ability to be successful. And so if you don't have that, and vision is a huge component to that. If you don't have that, the future is going to look dicey for you.
Are you living an off the shelf life?
Yeah.
Or are you living a customized life? And most people, the 2 for $20 Applebee's life, off the
Yeah.
shelf value because it's easy.
$1 Long Island iced tea.
Hey, shout out to that. But I think a lot of that, when you talked about success, and that this is perplexing to me. Ask most people, if you're watching this out there, what is your definition of success for you? Ask that question. 90% of people would have to like, They don't have an answer. So if you don't have an answer of what a definition of what success means to you,
Or it comes canned.
yeah, or it comes clear, something you saw somewhere, or that meme. And I think at the core of this is something we all have to wrestle with, because even when you can get whatever that definition is, are you interested or are you committed, right? I was looking up, I Google searched, what does it take to turn dreams to reality?
Yeah.
122 million results. People looking it up, they're interested. Are there 122 million people living their definition of success?
Hell no.
Yeah, it's actually funny because there's a couple ways I want to go with this, but this is more of a one-off thing. But like the whole response of in the Midwest specifically, because moving out here, ask somebody how their day is going. Oh, living the dream. First time I turned around, I had to stop and run back and be like, "How did you do it?"
Right.
Oh my, you figured it out.
Yeah.
But it's
Till
like,
you realize.
it's
Can I intern your life?
It's this dude checking the power meter, and he's over there in his coveralls. You know what I mean? And he does not look in any way, shape, or form that he is living his dream.
That is code for I want to end it. When people
You know what I
say,
mean?
I'm
But
living the dream.
But it's funny how they say that. We do this, and I'm living the dream, and like they put this like almost unattainable, like this is as good as it gets kind of thing on it, and I think that's horrific. The second thing is, as we talk about vision specifically, and this may be an unpopular thing, we might catch some flack for this, but I had a thought. We went there. I'm going to take us
Let
there.
it rip.
Vision can also be a spectrum. So anything you said, so if we're going to talk about vision as a skill and an ability, there are people that have 20/20 vision. There are people that have 200/200 vision. There are people that are nearsighted. There are people that are farsighted.
All those things.
There are people that have glaucoma, the astigmatism. There are people that have vision is a spectrum.
For sure.
What happens when someone's not good at it? Because if that's the direction we're going, we're vision, right?
You get
Dreaming,
LASIK.
Those things have to be as good. I know, right?
Well,
But
we're
like-
going to ride this analogy all the way.
but let's write it. But like, what is the LASIK then of the future?
Yeah.
What is the corrective action? Or if you just don't have it and you
Yeah.
don't mind that, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the idea of like not everyone has to be on this journey because it can sometimes feel disheartening or tiring if you don't have the stomach for something, even just a little bit of self-improvement, right?
Yeah.
To dig in because that's uncomfortable, right? And we see that trend all the time with leaders of tomorrow. We see that trend with clients. Like there's this bell curve of like, oh, this is fun, and then people start to fall off as it's not as fun, right? You know what I mean? And there's that stomach for like, I want more. Not everyone has that. And so what happens when someone wants the off-the-shelf life?
Well,
when they're okay with having that, just like either the vision's not. So these are two different scenarios. First, let's tackle that. What happens when it's just like, I don't have this passionate vision for my life. I don't have this bigger thing.
Well, everyone has vision. Everyone has vision because most of the people that you talk about, and keep in mind, vision is a key component, is one of the ingredients to manifestation. It is one of the ingredients to alchemy. It's one of the ingredients to be able to make things happen, to be able to create, to be able to change things. So everyone has vision. It's just how it is being applied. So all of the people that you're talking about, the glaucoma folks, the nearsighted folks, all this type of folks, in many cases, those people do have visions. They just have visions of a negative outcome. And it usually comes to pass.
Yeah.
Vision works. The people who see something going wrong, the people who say, come walk outside here in South Dakota and they see a nice day that might be 30 degrees, which if you live in one of the Dakotas in towards the end of January, it's just not even really a thing.
It's a nice day.
Those people who are like, well, something bad is coming. Those people see something bad coming.
Yeah.
And they will see something bad coming because they won't see the good things until they see the bad thing.
Okay.
And so they will always hit. So when that person sees a bad winter day coming, those 5 beautiful days in between,
Don't matter.
they'll skip right over those until they see what they want to see.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing in the other way. Like, listen, I have bad days. We have bad days where stuff don't go right. I was just talking to somebody last night. I do like 20 different things. And what that means is when you try to do them at a certain level, something is always going wrong. Always. I don't really see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're managing it, you're dealing with it, but I don't really see it as a bad day, you know, because I'm seeing the good days.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that happens with vision. And so for most people, it's about the application of it. It's not necessarily the ability. They can see all the bad stuff happening. And I don't even necessarily mean it in a negative way. Like there's some people who, like, I'm a visionary, right? So I see the thing and all the stuff in it.
Yeah.
You're a tactician. You see the shit that can go wrong in it, right? Somebody else sees how they can. It's a different thing. Somebody was just saying the other night, Tom, our friend Tom, who's part of LOT.
Yeah.
He was just saying, I'm not like the idea guy. You give me your thing
I'll do it.
and I'll do it. I'll make your thing work. That's how some people's. That's why working for someone is not a bad thing. You're not less than for doing that because that may be where your vision is most applicable. That may be what your skill set is seeing.
But seeing that as a part of your overall life, because if it's working for somebody, how does that play into the rest of your life? I think so many people, again, leave it at the door in terms of like they stop dreaming because they don't think it's possible. You may not be the guy that's dreaming of going to the moon or flying up in the clouds, but what's that next version of you? What's that next hill? Can you see that hill right there? Go climb on top of that. That's going to elevate you from where you are today. You can do something, and that's where, again, how far, how wide, how deep you dream. That's customizable. That's going to vary.
And that's the reason I ask, right? Is because we have to open that up. We have to open that up because we can get narrow and it can get heady and it can get like guru space where there's like this elitist thing of like these are the people that made it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and don't get me wrong, like I was there for a long time about like there's the people that make it, the people that don't. You got to have whatever, like some of this more extreme ideas. But it's interesting, like just opening up that thing to be like your vision may not be this. You may not be
That hill may be your thing.
the guy.
Yeah.
That hill might be your thing. But it's also, and we had talked about this on a previous episode, but it's the idea of the step, right? Just what's the one next step? Like you may not be out there getting this, like chasing this grand, massive vision, but like what's the next thing?
Well, and let me even rewind on that too, is just people understanding their positioning and where their vision is valuable, because I think that is a very important thing to drop on, because in this guru space, in this web space, it's like the person in front of the camera is always the most important person or whatever. And
Yes, we are.
And well, well, it's challenging that position. Think about bands, for instance, right? Like the drummer is almost always in back. You know what every band has?
A drummer.
A drummer.
Well, they should need a drummer.
Yeah.
Bass players.
Yeah.
Historically
Right.
odd.
Right.
But like if your bass player's not on it,
Man. So my thing is like, you know, you got to have key players. You got to have executors, and you have to know where your vision fits and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's part of being able to vision, is knowing that I make sense here, this person makes sense here, that person makes sense there.
Yeah.
In terms of getting started, in terms of actionable things for people, I think one of the first places for people to start is self-awareness and observation. It's being able to really ask yourself what's important to you, what's valuable to you, and all those other type of things. But being observant is really being able to appreciate what's around you and appreciate the contributions that people make into what's happening. And that will naturally flow into your ability to vision. Part of the reason why people fall in on negativity is because that doesn't require any figuring out, right?
Default.
You know what I'm saying? Bad things happen as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Good things less so. You know what I mean? And so, especially if you don't have the perception that it's a good thing.
Yep.
Bad things gonna happen, right? You're gonna get sick. Someone's gonna die. You're gonna lose this. You're gonna blah, blah, blah. And so for those people, it doesn't require any figuring out. It's always at arm's reach. It's easier to access. And so what people have to do is they have to really be self-aware about how that affects them, how that affects those around them, and then setting their eyes on the things that flow into the happy things. One of the things that Tammy has, you know, folks doing this is making their happy list. Make a list of the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
And what that does is not only does it actually give you a collection of things you get to go to when you're not happy, you have a list of things that you could do, because everybody's like, I don't know what to do to get happy. Well, here's a list of things that make you happy. Go do those. But the other thing that does is it sets your mind to the affirmative.
Yep.
Most people work from the deficit. How's your day? Not bad. That's a deficit. Not bad is good. But when you are a not bad person, when you wake up, the day has to prove to you that it's not a bad day.
As if you're the arbiter of.
Right. You didn't start
All
from
things to
neutral.
be
You
received.
didn't even start from,
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of day it is.
Yeah.
You started from not bad, and so the day has to go out of its way to prove.
No, you gonna have you gonna be
No,
good
it's a good
today.
day. It's a good day. I love them. Do you?
Hey, it is a good morning. Jesus woke us up.
My final thought on this, on dreams and visions, you know, and I really wrestle with this phrase, right? We all heard the devil's in the details. And I'm like, why we gotta use the devil? Because it's the thing that's holding me back. And then there's truth to that. I think about the series that SportsCenter does now, Details, right? Where they highlight a thing that these elite athletes do. They're not covering their entire life, their diet. They're saying, here's this one move. This is part of what makes them great. Everybody can do that one thing. Pick a detail.
Yeah.
If you're at a 2 out of a 10 in that one detail that's on the path to the vision, do that.
Yeah.
Do that a version better in the next 3 months, and just make progress. Get active, and that's the thing that the people that live out their dreams and live out their visions, they're active.
Yeah, it's super active. That's big. That's key. Because, well, as we say almost every episode, nothing of significance happens without intention.
Bam.
So go do.
We say that, and we say like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Go do shit.
Bam, 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 bam.
Tune into our next episode where we talk about LASIK.
Unrelated.
All right. See you guys next time. Make it a great week.